and this lady runs a stop sign right in front of me. I mean, it couldn't have been more blatant, and I'm in a marked unit, you know, the bubble gum red and blue lights on top and everything, and I'm going, what is she doing? Anyway, it looks like, some of you ladies might be able to associate with this or relate to this. It looks like the Tasmanian devil going on in that little car. There are kids flying everywhere. There's feet, there's hands, there's heads, there's hair, there's crying. And this lady, my surmising was that she was so busy trying to settle the kids down that she just didn't know she got that far into the intersection. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And she looks over at me and sees the intersection and just throws her hands up in the air and goes, great, you know, what else could go wrong today? She immediately pulls over. I didn't even turn on my red and blue lights. She just, I get up to the car and she's got her license and registration already out the window. Just, you know, write me the ticket. And she's driving a crappy old Datsun compact station wagon. It's not worth $400. It's a tan color with primer gray showing through. I remember this very well. This is back in like 83, maybe late 82, right in there. And I just start writing the ticket. You know, she's not crying. She's not, oh, please, officer, let me out of this. You know how it is. Your wife probably has a bunch of kids. You know how this goes. And she's probably right, you know, and we did have a bunch of kids. So I just start writing the ticket. And then right before I'm starting to sign my name and my serial number, I paused. And I looked down at this lady, and she's just staring right through the steering wheel, out the front windshield, and she's not there. Her kids are still really acting up, and she's thinking, why did I get up today? Why did I marry that guy? I looked down at her snotty-nosed kids who were dressed not very well. You could tell this was not a family that had money. It was more than obvious just looking at the dilapidated old car. And she's got 4 or 5 kids in there still fighting, crying, you know, and she's completely spacing it out. And after I paused to look at them, I now looked at me. And this was the most penetrating gaze I'd ever had in my life. And I said, Mack, is there anything that you're doing here that's helping this family who obviously can't afford this ticket you're giving them? Is there anything you're doing here that's bringing honor to the badge on your chest? And is there anything you're doing here that's bringing honor to yourself and your family and who you are as a person? Well, now I'm more depressed than the lady is. And I could not talk to her anymore. I didn't say, oh, well, ma'am, I'm cutting you some slack. Aren't I a great guy? If she had thanked me for anything, I don't think I could have handled it at all. I just gave her back her license and registration, and I walked away. The police station's 3.5 blocks from there, and I zoomed over there, tore that ticket in 1,000 pieces, threw them in the trash can in the briefing room, which was against policy, by the way. And I wondered the rest of the evening on that swing shift that ended at 11 o'clock why I was a cop and what the hell I was doing. I'm wondering also that maybe a cop who really had some compassion, who wasn't just a by-the-numbers jerk, would have maybe told the lady, you know what, you didn't mean to run the stop sign. You didn't threaten anybody or even come close to hurting anybody. Why don't you take your kids over to the school right there and let them play for a little bit, get some of that energy out, and you collect yourself a little bit, and then after 10 or 15 minutes, why don't you go on down the road? Wouldn't that have been a great thing to do? That would have been real service. You know, that thing we promised to do, protect and serve us? That never even crossed my mind until I repented of what I was doing. And so the next day I come back to swing shift, and briefing was at 2:30, and I came in about 2:15, and I went to the city clerk's office, and I'll tell you honestly, I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know what's directing me or leading me. All I knew is I was looking for something. And so I asked the city clerk if I signed an oath of office. And I don't know what brought that up, but it did. She handed me a copy of it immediately. She burned a copy, And I saw my name on there, and I signed it March 9th of 1979 when I first became a full-time cop. And I promised to uphold and defend and obey the United States Constitution and the Constitution of Utah. And now I'm more depressed than I was the day before. I was a liar and a hypocrite. I took an oath so I could get a paycheck and get a job where I could just have a fun time and a fun job. High-speed pursuits, that's fun. And every cop loves those. And I just wanted an exciting job. And I did not even realize that I had signed my name, gave my word, and I never had read either document in my life, ever. And so I'm serious. I'm literally walking to the chief's office, and I'm going to quit my job. I'm quitting right then and then. I'm going to tell him, Chief, this isn't for me. We're all liars and hypocrites. I'm leaving. Here's my badge, here's my gun. I'll send my uniforms. And then I paused again. I said, hey, Mack, wake up. You don't have to quit your job. You just have to quit being a liar and a hypocrite. And so I went home after briefing, got the World Book Encyclopedia where it said U.S. Constitution, and I'm reading it the rest of the night. And I even got a Utah Constitution and started reading it all the time too. Especially though, of both documents, the Bill of Rights. What beautiful penmanship, poetry, law, freedom, liberty, and this is what I promised to protect and obey and defend. I thought, what a noble job we have as peace officers in this country. We're the last line of defense for people's freedom. We're not cops. We're constitutional guards. That's the reason we're here. And yeah, we're still going to investigate traffic accidents, and we're still going to go after criminals and do murder investigations and go to autopsies and whatnot. I did all that. But the important thing is to keep our focus on what we said we would do. And the people could actually depend on us to keep our word to protect their rights and to protect America. So that's what it was. And then I decided to quit Provo PD after 11 years and move home to Arizona, where I was from, and run for sheriff. And with this constitutional background now that I have, when the Brady Bill came out, it was obvious. Do you know that I'd never been a cop in my hometown? I'd never been a cop or law enforcement in Arizona, and I hadn't lived there for 12 years. And I won. It's kind of miraculous. And then I got reelected in 1992, and my wife and my mom has always said, why such a miracle to become sheriff? And then when the Brady Bill came out and I filed lawsuit, both of them within a day said, now we know why. And it was really touching to have both of them be that sensitive. I'm just still kind of going on, you know. All I ever wanted was to be sheriff. If anybody thinks I got in to be sheriff so I could fight Bill Clinton, you didn't want to do that. I did look up history though, just, you know, and those of you who've heard my joke before, too bad, you're going to get it again. I did look up through history, and I was the only person, Sheriff Prince and I were the only people to ever sue Bill Clinton on a non-sexual matter. So, you know. So anyway, he deserves that. So the first thing that I try to make clear to the law enforcement community in the book is our form of government. That's page 13. Okay? In reading John Adams, you know what? He never talks about forming a democracy at all. The book is saturated with times where he's talking about that this is going to be a new experiment in a republic. And even newer yet is that this republic would be completely people-based, and that the people would possess the power, and that the pyramid would be upside down. The people in control here, and then the lowest form of human life would be government. And that it would be our job to keep government in check. We the people, we're in charge of that. And so anybody who thinks that the Founding Fathers were risking their lives and fortunes and sacred honor just to start another democracy here? You're all wet. You're wrong. And that's propaganda. Dumbing down our nation to believe that we're actually a democracy where the majority rules. Do you know what John Adams in his book, do you know what he called a democracy? You've heard a paraphrase of this all the time, but he said a democracy is giving the lamb to the wolf. That's democracy. You think that's what they were after? Not even close. So we explained to the sheriff real quick and to everybody else in the country what that is. That's part of our paradigm shift. We're shifting, folks. You've got to go with this. We're starting a new flow with this. It's only 49 pages. I don't talk about the sunset or the scenery. I get right to the point in this.